Good morning, students.
Good morning, ma'am.
From today onwards, we are conducting the classes in a different link. The reason being, this link allows me to record the classes. Okay, and these recordings will be uploaded in the Moodle as per the units in your syllabus. Okay, whatever topic is going to be discussed in the classes with respect to the particular unit which is there in your syllabus, that it will be this recording will be uploaded in Moodle today itself. Okay, so I request all of you to be aware of this fact that these meetings are getting recorded. So whoever is attending classes, who is not attending properly, when the teacher is asking someone, that person is not responding, everything is going to be recorded from now onwards. Okay, and also your audios and videos, those things will also be taken into consideration. It was asked to keep your video on, but most 90% of you are not doing it. So that should also be a concern for you. Till now, no hard and fast actions has been taken for those who are keeping their video off, but it may happen. I'm just informing you, it may happen. Okay, so everything should be kept in your mind, and then you should do whatever you want. But because now from now onwards, every class activities, every class lectures, everything will be recorded. Okay, and I want to inform you, all of you, that on the first week of October I'll be taking a test. Okay, I'll be taking a test that whatever will be covered up till today, because today I'm going to finish both its first units of both the subjects. Okay, so till today whatever will be taught, based on that the test will be conducted on the first week of October. I'll announce it in your official group. Okay, so that everyone comes to know. And when you will write the exam, all of your video should be kept on and audio muted. So that should be the way to write the class test. With proper uniform you will sit. It won't be a long class test because I understand your data uses and all that. So it will be a short class test, but whatever you will write by keeping your video on. Okay. So having said that, I will start today's discussion. And this is the last topic. This is a very small topic. Only concept will be taught here. That we will cover up today, and we'll finish up this entire unit. Alright? And then from tomorrow onwards, we will start a new chapter. I hope you can see my screen. Just one of you unmute and tell me if you can see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So what you can see the you can see linear programming sensitivity analysis, right? So sensitivity analysis is your last chapter, topic in this unit. All right. So what is sensitivity analysis? See, this today you are learning sensitivity analysis in terms of linear programming. There is no mathematical calculation in this topic. Okay, so better you sit with a pen and a paper and note down the main points that I'm going to discuss here. So for your kind information, this sensitivity analysis is such a term which you will find not only in QTM but also in finance you will find, as well as you will find this sensitivity analysis term in economics. Okay. Now what is this sensitivity analysis? Let me first give you some hint in general form. Okay. Suppose you know that your spending depends upon your income. You know this fact. Okay, that how much will you spend on your luxury items, how much will you spend on your essential items, how much will you spend on entertainment items. All those things depend on your level of income. This is a fact, isn't it? This is a fact. So everything depends, the spending related to every item depends on your income. Now suppose you have assumed something that if my income is increasing, say increasing by 10%, then there is high chance that my spending on essential items will not change, but my spending on luxury items will change. This kind of assumption you're making, okay, but you cannot make it appropriately because you don't know by what factor will it change. Or else next month it can happen that although you're getting more salary, more you're earning more, still some medical issues occurred in your family, or say you had to spend a lot in your essential item because some guests arrived and you had to buy a double grocery, so you could not spend on your luxury items because your extra income was spent in this essentials or say medical emergencies. Okay, so you cannot say exactly that if my income will increase by 10%, I will increase my spending on luxury items by 5%. Exactly, you cannot say, but you can estimate certain measurement. That's what we do, isn't it? That's what we do in linear programming. When we are assuming x units and y units, we are assuming that this much units we will manufacture, we will produce, so that we can maximize the profit or we can minimize the cost. And in the constraints of the linear programming, if you think about the constraints, there are lesser or equals to, greater or equals to, those kind of signs are mainly there. There are exceptions with equals to, but most of the signs are either greater or equals to or lesser or equals to. Now, when you are setting this greater than sign or lesser than sign along with the equals to sign, then that means you are not you are setting a boundary or you are setting a limit, but you are not saying exactly that this is going to be my constraint right hand side. You don't know. You say that 2xy 2x1 plus 4x2 lesser or equals to 15, like that you say. Now this, when you're setting that lesser or equals to 15, then you're saying that it can range from any positive value from 1, from 0 positive to 15. It can happen, but you cannot say exactly that it will be exactly always equals to 15, isn't it? So those things are there. Now this sensitivity analysis, this what does it do? It measures or it tries to measure that relationship between those change and effect. Okay. Now what does it indicate? The sensitivity analysis will determine the degree or the amount of changes that will occur in the say in the objective function, or say in the number of units that will occur due to a change in any of the constraints or any or the objective function. In other words, if you change any of the constraint, if you are changing the number of units, or say you are adding another constraint, if you are doing all those things, then that would mean that the sensitivity analysis will measure that how much effective will these changes be upon the entire linear programming's optimal solution. Okay, so this was a brief idea about sensitivity analysis. Let us study in detail, otherwise you will be confused. See, now this sensitivity analysis is also called what if analysis. Okay, this for your information, I have not written in the slide, but this sensitivity analysis is also called what if analysis. Now let us study what is sensitivity analysis. It says that what if there is uncertainty about one or more values in the linear programming model. What if there is uncertainty about the uncertainty about one or more values in the linear programming model. That means it says that what will happen if there is, you cannot say exactly that this value will occur in its whatever numbers you're showing, this value will occur in exactly that number. Now you are saying that it will be either lesser than or it will be either greater than, but you are not saying exactly. So there is uncertainty. There are chances of not happening also. So what if there is uncertainty about one or more values? Then the sensitivity analysis allows us to determine how sensitive the optimum solution is to the changes in the data values. That's what I was talking about since the class started. That what the sensitivity analysis will do, it will allow us, it will give us a measurement, it is a measurement tool or a technique that with which we can determine how sensitive, that means how reactive the optimal solution will be. You know how to determine the optimal solution when the zj minus cjs will all be positive, that then that means you will reach the optimal solution point. So how sensitive is that solution point to the changes in the data values? That means if you change the data values, whatever data value, I'll come to that point in the next very sections, that whatever change you're bringing in the values, with respect to that change, how reactive will be the optimal solution. That means how much change will occur in the optimal solution with respect to the change in the data values. That is sensitivity analysis. Okay. Now this includes analyzing changes in, now where these changes will fall or where these changes in the values can occur. Number one is an objective function coefficient. We will name it as OFC from now onwards. Okay, objective function coefficient. What does it indicate? You know what is a coefficient. Remember a particular LPP with an objective function, maximize 2x1 plus 4x2. So this is an objective function. Then what is the coefficient in this objective function? Who will tell me the answer? Tell me, who knows it? If I tell you that objective function is maximize 2x1 plus 4x2, then what is the coefficient here? Or which are the coefficients here?
2 and 4.
2 and 4.
2 and 4.
Yes, very good. So the numbers which are attached to the variables, they are the coefficient. Okay. So this, when we're talking about changes in the data values, this will include firstly the objective function coefficient. That means you're changing the coefficient and then you're trying to measure the changed coefficient's impact on the ultimate optimal solution. That is number one. And number two is a right hand side value of a constraint. We'll name it as RHS from now onwards. Okay. So a right hand side value of a constraint means it's very easy to understand. In constraints, there is a left hand side and there is a right hand side also. The part which is written after a greater than equals to sign or a lesser than equals to sign or an equals to sign, that part is called a right hand side value of the constraint. Okay. So whatever changes you are bringing, number one in the objective function coefficient, and number two in the right hand side value of the constraint, whatever changes you are bringing about, then we can measure the effect on the optimal solution with the help of sensitivity analysis. Okay. Graphical sensitivity analysis. Let us discuss a bit more about sensitivity analysis. So that, see, this part I won't say that this is very much important, this will come in your examination. It is not a very important part in your syllabus, but this is important to understand, because whatever we are doing in LPP, no, that is nothing but your sensitivity analysis. We are bringing the slack variables, we are deducting the surplus variable, then bringing one artificial variable. Whatever we are doing, no, to the original LPP, those are nothing but your sensitivity analysis. That's why it is very important to understand, and short questions can obviously come from this section. Okay. So not only the theoretical concept, we can also use the graphical sensitivity analysis concept in order to understand it. We can use the graph of a linear program to see what happens when an OFC changes, that means objective function coefficient changes, or a right hand side changes. Okay, we can use a graphical methodology. I'll show you the graphical methodology now. Okay, so this is an example of a flare furniture problem. Okay, this is an LPP. You can identify the looks of an LPP. You can note down in the copy also. I'll share the PPT also in Moodle. Okay, so no need to note down word by word. Just listen to me. Now see, this is a maximization problem. You can understand easily. Now, till now we have done more than 20 problems in LPP. I think more than 20, 30 also. So you should be able to understand that maximize 7t plus 5c is a profit maximization LPP problem, linear programming problem given to you, and this maximization objective function is subject to the constraints. There are 4 constraints. Okay, what are the constraints? 3t plus 4c lesser or equals to 2400. This is a carpentry hours constraint. That means this 2400 is the maximum carpentry hours, and these 3 hours are required to manufacture, say, T element of this furniture, and 4 hours are required to manufacture C number of elements of this flare furniture. Okay, that is not mentioned in the example, but you have to understand that this T and C are some part or some ingredients of the furniture for which 3 hours and 4 hours are respectively required, and they cannot, the carpentry hours, the maximum carpentry hours can be only 2400. Okay, similarly the painting hours can be 1000 hours, and 2 hours are 2 and 1 hours are individually required to be spent on painting T and C ingredients or TNC parts of the furniture. Okay, so these two are related to carpentry hours and painting hours respectively. And this third constraint is saying that C should be lesser or equals to 450. That means this is maximum numbers. This hashtag means maximum number of chairs. Okay, so it is also mentioned in the problem that the maximum number of chairs with respect to this C elements. Oh, sorry, I'm very sorry. This T stands for tables, okay, and C stands for chairs. I forgot to mention this. These are not elements, but this Flare Furniture is a company who are manufacturing tables and chairs. All right. So for carpentry, 3 hours of is required for carpenting the tables, and 4 hours are required for carpenting the chairs. Similarly, 2 hours are required for carpenting for painting one table, and 1 hour is required for painting one chair. This is like that. Okay, and it was also mentioned in the problem that the maximum number of chairs that can be manufactured is 450. All right, so C should be lesser or equals to 450. Okay, and the fourth constraint is a very interesting one. It says that minimum tables to be manufactured is 100 numbers. That means the Flare Furniture Company should manufacture minimum 100 number of tables, and maximum chairs that can be manufactured is 450 units. 450 units. And the normal constraint that we get is T and C are greater or equals to 0. That means the number of tables and the number of chairs should be a positive number. That is a general constraint that we can see in every LPP. Understood? I hope this problem is clear. Then, so this is our objective function that is standing. Maximize 70. What if the profit contribution for tables changed from $7 to $8 per table? See, in the maximization function, the 7 was the coefficient for table and 5 was the coefficient for chair, isn't it? Now see, if it says that what if the profit contribution for tables, what is time? Okay. What if the profit contribution for tables changes from 7 to $8 now. We are changing this 7 coefficient to 8 coefficient. Clearly profit goes up because it increasing the profit contribution for tables. So clearly the profit will go up. But would we but what would we want to make more tables and less chairs? That is, does the optimal solution change? That means we are changing the profit contribution per table, but does that indicate that we want to manufacture more tables and less chairs? Because this table is giving you more profit than chairs, isn't it? We have changed this coefficient. Even after changing, these tables are giving you more profit. So does that indicate that you will also change the number of tables and chairs to be manufactured? So if that changes occur in the manufacturing units number of tables and chairs, then the optimal solution will also change, isn't it? Do you remember the XB column? In XB column, we got the number, the ultimate optimal solution with the number of chairs and tables we will get. All right. So does that change also? That is our concern. Now, these characteristics of the objective function changes are, objective function coefficient changes are, if you change the coefficient, then this will occur. What are these points? There is no effect on the feasible region. That means, now think about the graphical solution of the LPPs. We used to get a feasible region, isn't it? We used to shade the area covered up by all the constraints by plotting them as straight line in the graph. We used to cover the common areas, and then we used to get the feasible region, isn't it? So when you are changing the objective function coefficient, it is certain that there will be no change in the feasible region. Okay. The slope of the level of profit line changes. Although the slope of the profit line, that means the objective functions line, obviously that will change because you are bringing a change in the coefficient. So that looks of that profit line will change, but there won't be any effect in the feasible region. And third point is, if the slope changes enough, a different corner point will become optimal. Now, when the slope is changing, it may happen that a different corner point will become the optimal. It may happen, although the feasible region is not changing, but I think you remember that we had to calculate the corner points coefficients also, corner points maximized value, minimized value also. Then we used to select the highest one for maximization problem and the lowest one for minimization problem. So if the changes in the slope occurs in maximum amount, then a different corner point, it may happen that a different corner point is becoming the optimal. But the feasible region will not change. This has been explained in this diagram. You see, the original, the red line shows the original objective function, where 7t plus 5c was the objective function, and by using that function and performing the LPPs, we got this this solution. 4040 is the solution. Okay, that solution is not shown in this PPT. You know how to solve it. If you solve, then you will get all these factors and you will get the objective function's value as $4040. Okay. Whereas if you are following the revised objective function, that means the changed one, from 7 it is changing to 8, then you are getting a higher higher value of the maximized profit, that is $4360. Okay, so this red line shows the original objective function, and the blue line shows the changed or the revised objective function. Okay, now you see that optimal corner is appearing at t equals to 320 and c equals to 360. Still the optimal. There is no change now. Okay, it is not changing, but it can happen that it will change. So the point is, you should understand that what are we going to measure with the help of sensitivity analysis. It says that if you bring a change in the objective function coefficient, three things can occur. First is there will be no effect on the feasible region. Feasible region will remain same. But the slope of the level of profit line changes. The slope is changing, isn't it? See, it was like this. The red line, from the red line, it is changing to the blue line. So the slope is changing. But still we found that the optimal corner has not changed. But it can change if it is quite more. We have changed just 1 unit, no? We have changed just $1 in the profit contribution. Had the change been bigger, then there would have been a change in the optimal corner point as well. Is it clear? Is there any doubt? If there is any doubt, you can please ask. Okay. So if the slope changes enough, a different corner point will become the optimal. All right. So if the slope is changing up quite a more, it is changing just a bit, no? From the red line to the red line, it is just moving a little bit. Had the change in the slope been more, obviously the corner point, the optimal corner point would have also changed. Okay, but at this moment there is no change. Just a moment. I'm gonna text it. Do you doing in what? Rashil, what do you want to say? Unmute and ask. Do we need what? What does that mean? I am not understanding. Unmute and ask. Rashil? Rashil, are you there?
Hello,
Yes.
yes,
What do you
ma'am.
want to ask? Then
Nothing,
why
ma'am.
have you tried this? Do we need what does it mean? Mute yourself.
Whew.
Mute yourself, Rashil.
Okay.
All right. So, what if the objective function become higher or lower? Now, say we are changing the objective function.
Ma'am,
Who is this?
ma'am Rachel,
Tell me.
ma'am, when will you take attendance?
Please mute yourself, Rashid. Please mute yourself. Today is your first class. Please be silent. Follow the class. It will happen in due course of time. Everyone else other than you knows the process. Okay, so all of them are behaving so properly. So you also keep quiet. You will attend the first class of your third semester properly. You will understand what happens when. Okay. Now concentrate on the slide which I am showing you. So suppose now you are changing the objective function coefficient quite higher and quite lower. Once you are changing from 7, you are changing it to 11, and from 7 you are bringing it down to 3. So this is quite a big change, isn't it? If you do so, then what will happen? See, this blue line is the change for the higher one, and the red line is the change for the lower one. In both the cases, both have new optimal corner points. They will have both both of these changes will have new optimal corner. For the red line, it is this one, this blue dotted one. You can see my arrow in the screen if you follow. So I am rotating my arrow around the blue dotted line, for which the objective function for which the red line objective function is giving the optimal value. And for this one, for the blue line, this 500 and 0 is the optimal corner point. Now they are changing. Previously it was somewhere there, isn't it? Previously it was here in the third corner point. Now it was there. Now both of them are changing to two different points. So is it clear? I'll stop my discussion here, and I'll show you the right hand side one tomorrow. Okay. I could not finish it today. And it's so short that it is very difficult to complete entire discussion in single class. Anyways, is it clear? When we changed by only $1, the optimal corner did not change. But when we are when we are increasing by $4 and when we are decreasing by $4, it's quite a big change. Then we saw that both the optimal corners for both these changes have also changed. The optimal corner points have also changed, isn't it? So if you're still if you're having doubt, please ask me till the time I take attendance. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can ask. The PPT is still on your screen, so you can think about the whatever I have discussed today, and if you have any doubt, please ask. Okay. Rachel, from tomorrow onwards, day after tomorrow, it will be day after tomorrow, and starting a new chapter. You have already missed the LPP, okay? And I can see Swam also in the meeting. Swam has also missed most of the classes of LPP. So you all people be careful, okay? I had no recording also, but I have the YouTube videos which I had sent link. You can refer to those videos, okay? Maximization, minimization, all those problems are there. Swam was there in few of the classes, you will understand. But Prashil, you can refer to those videos if you really want to learn, okay? And from tomorrow onwards, I'll start a new chapter. All of you should be present, and all of you should be very, very attentive when I'll start the new chapter day after tomorrow. Okay. Now, all of you will unmute one by one and will respond. Abhijit, Abhishna, Anurag, Aryan,
Yes, ma'am.
Ashish,
Yes, ma'am.
Ashmita,
Yes, ma'am.
Etsna, Debrupa, Harshita, Ishika Chaudhary, Ishika Agarwal,
Yes, ma'am.
Kajal,
Present, ma'am.
Kasak,
Present, ma'am.
Khushi.
Ma'am.
Who is this? Krisan, Mahima,
Present, present.
Mamta,
Yes, ma'am.
Mohit, Muskan Prasad, Muskan Gupta,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Namrata, Nidhi,
Present, ma'am.
Nitesh, Corneldeep, Pawan, Prashil, Pratiksha Chetri,
Yes, ma'am.
Pratiksha Giri,
Present, ma'am.
Priyanka,
Present, ma'am.
Pooja, Rahul,
Yes, ma'am.
Rajat, Ramkrishna, Rohit
Present,
Bansal,
ma'am.
Rohit Pandey, Sagar, Salina,
Present, ma'am.
Shalini,
Present, ma'am.
Shruti,
Yes, ma'am.
Siddhant, Saurav,
Present, ma'am.
Obit, Supriya, Suraj, Swayam,
Present, ma'am.
Tanya,
Present, ma'am.
Vinit.
Present, ma'am.
Who is that? Okay, fine then. You can leave the class and see you at 9:20 a.m. again. Okay, bye bye. Attend the next class. Bye.